Did you know that one of the most powerful aspects of great mentoring is asking really good questions? This video is part 2 in my Be a Better Mentor series. In the last video, we covered the common mistakes and pitfalls that many coaches and leaders make that can sabotage and make it so much harder for those we're working with to get great results. In this video, we'll be diving deeper into some of the really potent questions that any leader, coach, or mentor can ask that will make their mentoring much more impactful. I'm doing this series because I want more and more people realizing their dreams and reaching their goals. And I know that having a great mentor can be invaluable support. Also, for many of the people I've worked with over the years, part of their big dream or goal involves working with other people and mentoring them in some capacity. So it feels important to help more people to gain some awareness and hopefully the skills needed to be able to be successful. I'm also doing this series so that if you are seeking mentoring to help you reach a goal or bring a dream to life, that you can be aware of what's actually helpful and what's not in mentoring. This is especially important so that you don't get stuck or even stop pursuing your goal or dream entirely because of bad mentoring. For the purposes of this video series, I'm defining bad mentoring as mentoring that makes it harder for you to reach your goal or whatever it is that you've hired or asked a mentor for help with. Good mentoring understands why their mentee wants what they want and why they're doing this. When a mentor only focuses on what they think the person wants, like to make more money, to shed 20 pounds, to become a better artist, to get a career advancement, but they don't also know why that person wants those things, this is a recipe for misalignment. First and foremost, whenever you're working with someone, be sure to ask and really understand why they want this. Also keep in mind that often the people we're working with maybe haven't really stopped to think about why they want what they want. If you just ask them why, they might not be able to answer you and give you a good response. So don't stop there. Instead, dig deeper. Ask them great questions like, why is now the right time for you to achieve or go for this? What happens if you don't reach this goal? What are the costs? What will life look like once you've achieved this goal? What will improve or be better? Ideally, you want this picture of why their goal matters and why they're doing this to be so clear that it fills up the goal and your mentoring work together with a lot of energy and enthusiasm. This is a really impactful way to start off a new mentoring relationship. It can also be a helpful exercise to revisit anytime energy or enthusiasm is waning. It's also a really great way to give your mentee a really positive, transformative experience. This is because clarifying your why can be a really supportive and enlightening part of your journey. They'll associate you with this positive experience, which will help them build trust in the mentoring relationship itself. It will also give everything you're working on some real teeth and help anchor the work that you're doing together to something that deeply matters. This can be an invaluable asset to reach for, especially when they hit tough times or when they need help overcoming self-sabotage that might come up over the course of working with you. This also helps you as the mentor to be able to tailor your recommendations and counsel to what really matters for them. For example, if you're working with someone who wants to become a better writer, but a major part of why they want to do this is to leave a legacy for their children, it could feel like conflicting counsel if you're telling them to really focus on taking time for themselves away from their children. Even if this might help them write more, they might be less concerned about the quantity of writing that they're getting in and more concerned about how to peacefully and harmoniously integrate writing into their everyday life alongside their children. They may even want their children to see them writing consistently. If you're working with a mentor right now who doesn't understand your why, this is an important place to advocate for yourself. Do what you can to help them understand your why. Even if they weren't asking about it or they don't seem interested, knowing your why can absolutely work on them over time to help them show up in a more tailored and personalized way for you in mentoring. Another great question to ask is, what would success look like? Or what would success working together look like? This gives us an opportunity to clearly identify the objectives for mentoring and working together. When we don't ask this and we just assume, it puts us in a very tricky situation. The goal of this question is to put some clear parameters around how you'll work together. Without any boundaries, you can get into situations of doing absolutely anything to try to please them. It can just amp up those people-pleasing tendencies really strong, especially if you're being paid to help them. This can be absolutely miserable and completely soul-sucking. It can even make you feel like some of the people you work with are just impossible to please. The big secret to mentoring is that those you're working with will tell you exactly what they want from you when you ask. This can make it even easier for you to help them to get the results that they want. This can also be a great opportunity to adjust expectations, especially if something they say sounds really unrealistic. Then you can talk about it right away, rather than letting it fester under the surface. Here again, your mentee might not be able to tell you clearly what success would look like to them, and they may need some prompting. I like asking them specifically how success here would impact their relationships, self-confidence, financial situation, and even physical health, which are the main areas in which we experience dissatisfaction and disharmony in our lives. If you're currently working with a mentor who hasn't asked you this, it can be really helpful for you to take a moment and think through or even journal through what success would look like for you. Then, once you're clear, feel free to share this vision with them and see if it aligns with their vision. Now let's talk about some powerful questions for if you're engaging in long-term mentoring with someone, for how to set up each mentoring session for success and make sure that it ends on a really strong note. A great way to start every mentoring session is to ask about what wins have happened since you last connected. Encourage them that wins can be big or small. We're really looking for any sign of progress here. A key reason for asking them this is it helps them to recognize any signs of progress towards their goal. It also helps them to see any positive impact that mentoring and working with you might be having in their life. This can be incredibly motivating for them, and it can help them stay motivated and lock in during your current mentoring session. When we only focus on what needs improving in our time mentoring with others, it can actually be really demotivating. Just even a few minutes of focus and celebration on what's working and what's going well can go a long way. Also know that this means that they might not on their own recognize progress. This also means that it's not always easy to see any progress that's being made. Sometimes we have to help them see it and help them to point it out and recognize it. If you're currently working with someone who isn't asking what your wins are, make sure you prioritize recognizing them yourself. You may want to keep a little journal or a note on your phone where you can track progress and daily or weekly wins. This can be a big support to helping you stay motivated and keeping you on track to reach your goals. Another key question to ask at the beginning of a mentoring session with someone is, what are you hoping to get out of mentoring and working with me today? This helps set up the intention for your time together. I've been shocked at how many times I've entered a mentoring session with some big grandiose idea of all the massive value I wanted to bring to them and what we needed to accomplish in order for it to be successful, but then only to ask this question and realize that my original vision is completely out of alignment with what they actually need and where they're just even at right now. It's pretty tricky to guess what your mentees will need from time to time. Even if you've been doing a lot of mentoring, some days they need practical steps, but other days they really need your encouragement most. Asking will help set you both up for success every time, especially to have a really productive, successful mentoring session. If you're working with someone who isn't asking you at the beginning of a session what your intentions are, be sure you're taking time to get clear yourself before the mentoring starts. I like to remember that I also hold some responsibility for getting what I need and want out of a mentoring session. I tell my children all the time with their music lessons, your teacher works for you. We've hired them to help you grow, so if you're not getting what you need from the lesson, be more clear with your teacher about what you're hoping to get out of your time working together. The same is true for any kind of mentoring, whether you're receiving mentoring from a leader at your company or whether you've hired a trainer, coach, or teacher to help mentor you in any capacity. The more clear you are about what you're hoping to get out of the mentoring and the more clearly you're able to communicate this, the more you set your mentoring up for success. As you're bringing your mentoring moment to a close, it's smart to ask your mentee a few more questions to guide them. First, ask them what their top takeaways are from their time with you today. This gives them an opportunity to further integrate what you've talked about and helps you check in to see if their takeaways line up with what you're hoping they're taking away from the conversation. This will naturally help you to be able to reiterate any important points you want to make sure they remember. It's also a good idea to ask them what steps they want to commit to taking after the call. Sometimes you as the mentor will prescribe clear action steps that you want them to take. But even in these instances, I've still found it to be so invaluable to ask them what action they plan to take. Sometimes they'll tell you they're going to do everything you told them to do, but also sometimes they'll bring up how tricky it might be to do everything that you talked about because of life circumstances and things that they have showing up. Knowing this helps you adjust both of your expectations accordingly. We always have to remember that those that we're working with are working on their goal or dream alongside real life happening also. Can you imagine how frustrating it would be if your mentee was consistently not taking all the action that you outlined in your sessions together? You might start to think that they're just not committed, but in reality, you might be overwhelming them with just way too many things to do. Sometimes this can also show us where they're mentally blocked because they'll express nervousness or hesitation on some of the things that we may have recommended. All of this is really helpful information to ensure that you understand where they're at and can show up best to support them. Another key aspect of inviting them to declare what action they are going to take is that it reminds them that the next steps are all on them. It's all too easy for our mentees to become people pleasers in a mentoring session. This is where the mentee just tells us whatever they think they want us to hear. But when you ask the question about what action they're going to take, this puts the power for their growth and transformation back into their hands. If you're currently working with a mentor who isn't asking this of you, let this video be a reminder first for you to get clear, and second that you may need to advocate more for yourself with your mentor by expressing more clearly what you're committing to do and in what time frame. Doing this will actually help you get more out of your mentoring, not less, even if you can't commit to doing absolutely everything they want you to do. All in all, I hope these questions will help you see how vital it is as a mentor to seek to understand your mentee. During a mentoring session, I find it's crucial for me to be fully present with my mentee. When I seek to understand, I can show up stronger to serve and actually help my mentee to get the results that they're wanting. Mentoring can be incredibly rewarding. I hope that these questions also really help you to build your confidence as a mentor. The world needs more good mentors. A mentor who truly cares and shows up to serve and support can be an invaluable resource in helping you reach your goals and bring your dreams to life. So please join me in the next video where we'll talk about going from good to great as a mentor. See you there.